Hello, welcome to English for Everyone, where we practice real-life American English. Today we're going to learn to avoid some common mistakes, and we're going to practice American pronunciation, correct word usage, and grammar. So let's get started. First, this is not correct.
Life belt, lifesaver, or life buoy.
The word is not pronounced buoy. It's pronounced buoy. Life buoy. This is not normally called a life buoy. The word exists, but it's more commonly called a life preserver. This is a life preserver. So what is a buoy? This is a buoy. Pronunciation, buoy, buoy. Make the long oo like food and moon, boo, and then have the long e like green beans, e. Together we link the sounds with the w sound. Boo, buoy, buoy. This is a buoy. And this is most commonly called a life preserver. Let's practice. What is this? Is this a buoy? That's right, this is a buoy. And what is this? Is this a life preserver? That's right, this is a life preserver. Also, don't say this.
They usually have elasticated corners which offer a secure fit.
Don't use the word elasticated. Not in American English. We don't say elasticated. We say elastic. Example, if you describe fitted sheets, you can say they're elastic because they have elastic inside them. We use elastic as the adjective too. We don't say elasticated. Or if I describe these shorts, I can say they have an elastic waistband. I don't say they have an elasticated waistband. I say they have an elastic waistband because there's elastic inside. The shorts have an elastic waistband. Let's practice. Do the shorts have an elastic waistband? That's right, the shorts have an elastic waistband. This is also not correct.
So we say I'm in bed if we're in bed and we're under covers.
I cannot say we're under covers. We need an article. We need the article the. It's correct to say we're under the covers. We have to use the in this sentence. We're under the covers. Or I can say they. They're under the covers. Let's practice. Are they under the covers? That's right, they're in bed and they're under the covers. I know it's confusing. If I say in bed, I don't say in the bed. They're in bed. But if I say under covers, I have to say under the covers. We need an article there. It's confusing. So remember, they're in bed and they're under the covers. This is also not correct.
There's also a phrase we can use instead of saying get into bed, which is to get between the sheets. Kind of simple and logical, right?
To get between the sheets is not the same as to get into bed. Get into bed just means to get into bed. But between the sheets, you're talking about sex. It's not the same. So don't say get between the sheets unless you're talking about sex. They're very different. So say get in bed or get into bed, but don't say get between the sheets because that's different. And we're not going to practice with that one. This is also not correct.
And I usually never sleep in, and I don't even remember ever oversleeping anything.
I cannot say I don't remember oversleeping anything. When I'm using the verb oversleep and I talk about an object, I have to use a preposition. I have to use for. You oversleep for something. That means you sleep late and you miss the thing. So it's correct to say I don't remember oversleeping for anything. This is also not correct.
If you got so good night's sleep that you look refreshed and attractive in the morning.
I cannot say if you got so good night's sleep. We cannot use so in this case. Why not? Because when you say good night's sleep, we need an article, a good night's sleep. We have a noun. In this case, sleep is a noun. If you have a noun at the end, we cannot use so. We have to use such. Such a good night's sleep. Example, I got such a good night's sleep last night. I cannot say I got so good night's sleep or I got so a good night's sleep. Because we have the article, and a noun at the end, we have to use such. We cannot use so. Example, he got such a good night's sleep last night. Let's practice. Did he get such a good night's sleep last night? That's right, he got such a good night's sleep. This is also not correct.
Do you take naps, or maybe you have trouble dozing off?
I cannot say, or maybe you have trouble dozing off. First, let's talk about have trouble. We use have trouble when something is difficult. You're trying to do something, but it's difficult. That's when we say have trouble. So I can say I have trouble falling asleep because I'm trying to fall asleep and it's difficult. Now let's talk about doze off or dozing off. When you doze off, it just happens. It's not planned. You're not trying to do it. Usually it's an accident. You can't try to doze off. So we cannot say have trouble dozing off because dozing off is not something you can try to do. It's something that just happens. You fall asleep. It's unplanned. So we cannot put these two things together. It doesn't make sense. So it should be if you have trouble falling asleep. I don't have any trouble falling asleep. It's easy. I fall asleep immediately. What about you? Do you have trouble falling asleep? Very good. And if you have trouble falling asleep, tell me why. Put it in the comments. I want to know why you have trouble falling asleep. For me, it's easy. I'm tired. I fall asleep. Also, don't say this.
So when you do this, you vacuum or vacuum clean.
Don't use vacuum clean as a verb. I vacuum cleaned my carpet. I vacuum cleaned my house. Don't say this. It exists in some online dictionaries, but we don't say it. We say vacuum. Use vacuum as the verb. I vacuum the carpet. I vacuum my house. And I vacuum my house with what? The machine is called a vacuum, or you can call it a vacuum cleaner. But don't use vacuum clean as a verb. Use vacuum as the verb. I don't like to vacuum. I hate to vacuum. What about you? Do you like to vacuum? Very good. And don't say this either.
So here we would do the dishes or do the washing up or wash the dishes.
Do the washing up does not mean wash the dishes. Not in America anyway. Say wash the dishes or do the dishes. But don't say do the washing up. We don't use this in America. Wash up is different. Wash up is a phrasal verb that we use to mean wash your hands and face. For example, my children come in the house and I say wash up for dinner. Because they're outside playing, they're dirty. It means go in the bathroom, wash your face and hands, and get ready for dinner. Go wash up for dinner. That's how we use it here in the US. If you talk about dishes, say do the dishes or wash the dishes. And I don't like to wash the dishes, so I tell my kids to wash the dishes. What about you? Do you have to wash the dishes? Very good. And do you like to do the dishes? Me either. I don't like to do the dishes either. This is also not correct.
Which means to exchange old and burnt out light bulbs with new ones.
I cannot say exchange the old light bulbs. We don't use the verb exchange in this case. Exchange is a verb we use when I give you something and you give me something in return. This is a different idea. So you can say replace the light bulbs or change the light bulbs, but not exchange. We also have a phrasal verb, change out. You can change out the light bulbs. That means to replace the old ones with new ones. And when do you have to do this? You have to do this when a light bulb burns out. Another phrasal verb. When the light bulb stops working, we say the light bulb burns out. And then you have to change out the light bulb. Let's practice. What do you do when the light bulb burns out? Do you have to change out the light bulb? That's right. When the light bulb burns out, I have to change out the light bulb. And don't say this either.
Now I am going to buckle up, or I can also say fasten my seatbelt or put on my seatbelt. You could also hear the phrases strap in or belt up.
We don't use the phrasal verb belt up to talk about putting on your seatbelt. We say put on your seatbelt. Don't say belt up. People will understand you, maybe, but we don't say it. Example, as soon as I get in my car, I put on the seatbelt. What about you? Do you put on the seatbelt as soon as you get in your car? Very good. And don't say this either.
And the right way to say this would be I need to back up or I need to reverse.
Don't use reverse as a verb, meaning to back up. Use the phrasal verb back up. If you need to drive backwards, the first thing you do is you put it in reverse. You put the car in reverse. You're changing the gears from park to reverse. We use the word reverse in this case. So first you have to put it in reverse, and then you back up. People don't say, I reverse my car or I reverse. No, I back up. So let's talk about it. First, you need to put it in reverse, and then you back up. Let's practice. What do you do first? Do you put it in reverse? That's right. First, you put it in reverse. And then what do? Do you back up? That's right. And then you back up. And this is also not correct.
So we can say to pass a car, to overtake a car, or to surpass a car.
We cannot use the verb surpass, meaning to pass a car. If you pass a car or if you pass anything, use pass. We cannot use surpass. It's a different idea. Example, I can say, a car passed me. The car passed me. Use pass. Don't say a car surpassed me. Let's talk about surpass. What does surpass mean? It means to be higher or greater in number. So for example, there's salesmen and they're looking at their sales numbers. I can say this year's sales numbers surpassed last year's sales numbers, meaning this year's sales were higher than last year's. That's how we use the verb surpass. Not talking about cars. With cars, you say pass. Let's practice. Did this year's sales numbers surpass last year's sales numbers? That's right. This year's sales numbers surpassed last year's sales numbers. This year, they sold more things. They made more money. This is also not correct.
And the opposite action to this one would be to pick someone up.
I cannot say the opposite action to this one. When I use the word opposite and I talk about words or meanings, I have to use a different preposition. I use the preposition of, the opposite of. So it's correct to say the opposite action of this one. Remember, with opposite, use the preposition of when talking about meanings and ideas and words. Let's talk about opposites. What's the opposite of deep? The opposite of deep is shallow. Let's practice. What's the opposite of deep? That's right. The opposite of deep is shallow. I cannot say the opposite to deep. I have to use of. Now let's talk about pronunciation. This is not correct.
And the last useful phrase I want to give you is stock up on supplies or stock up on something, which means to buy and to gather necessary items in abundance.
I cannot say to stock up on means to buy and to gather necessary items. Together? Oh, she means to gather. Let's talk about the difference. If I say together, I use the short eh sound. Together, together. Eh, like red and 10. Together. But to gather, I use the short ah sound like black cat. To gather. So it's correct to say, to stock up on means to gather necessary items. Or buy a lot of things. Example, I stock up on toilet paper. It means I buy a lot of toilet paper. Can you use gather? I guess you could, but I would use buy. If I say I stocked up on toilet paper, it means I bought a lot of toilet paper. Example, he stocked up on toilet paper. He bought a lot of it. Let's practice. Did he stock up on toilet paper? That's right, he stocked up on toilet paper. So remember the pronunciation difference. Together, together, the first one, and to gather, the second one. This is also not correct.
I, for instance, need to drop my son off at school.
Drop my son off at school? We don't say drop my son off. It's drop. We have to use the short ah sound like hot and stop. It's more open. I can't say drop with the closed sound. I have to use drop with the open sound. Drop my son off at school. My kids walk to school, so I don't have to drop off my kids at school. They walk. What about you? Do you have to drop off your kids at school? Very good. This is also not correct.
And right now we're filling up our guest tank.
I cannot say we're filling up our gas tank. Our gas tank? I think of this word, guess, guess. It has the short S sound like bed and red. Guess, guess. But she means gas, gas. The sound is different. We use the A sound like black cat. It's more open. The tongue is down in the front and up in the back. Gas tank. Not guess tank, but gas tank. They're very similar, but they're different. And it's important to know the difference because the first word is guess and the second word is gas. They're different words. This is also not correct.
We take some toys and buckets and shovels to build sand castles.
I cannot say buckets and shovels. The word is pronounced shovels. So what's the difference? If I say shovel, that's the open ah sound, like hot and stop. I need the closed sound, like cup and up. It's more closed. Shovels. We hear the sound with the first word, buckets. Buckets. That's the same sound, the in buckets. Shovels. Both words have the same sound in the first syllable. Buckets and shovels. Example, the kids have buckets and shovels. Let's practice. Do the kids have buckets and shovels? That's right, the kids have buckets and shovels. This is also not correct.
That is, unless you have a little monster who likes to destroy them.
I cannot say a little monster. A little monster? We have to use the open sound, monster. Ah, like hot and stop. Monster. Not monster, but monster. A little monster. Use the open sound, ah. Not the closed sound, but the open sound. This is a little monster. Let's practice. Is this a little monster? That's right, this is a little monster. This is also not correct.
This one can be a lounge float or a pool chair lounge float.
I cannot pronounce the word pool. It's pronounced pool. So what's the difference? I'm using the long oo sound like food and moon. Poo. Then I'm linking to the dark L, where I tense my tongue. Together. Pool. There's an extra sound there. It's not pool, but it's pool. This is a swimming pool. I live in California, and a lot of people in California have a swimming pool in their backyard, but I don't. What about you? Do you have a pool in your backyard? Very good. So if you want to practice more with the dark L and the light L, keep watching until the end of this video. First we see this word, cruel. We see the U-E-L at the end. We do not pronounce it cruel. We're not pronouncing the E. We're pronouncing the U-E together as the sound oo. Crew. Linking it to a dark L. Cruel. It sounds like pool and cool. You have the long oo sound followed by the dark L. Pool, cool. And this word is cruel. It's the opposite of kind. It means to be very mean to somebody. You are cruel to somebody. Don't be cruel to other people. Be kind. So the dark L is the same position as a light L. You put the tongue up, touching the roof of your mouth, not your teeth, behind your teeth. And what's different is your tongue is not straight. It goes a little high in the back. And the bottom of the tongue expands. It gets bigger to make the dark L. So, cruel. That's the dark L. Cruel. And it's not cruel. There's kind of an extra sound, and where it comes from is, when you say ooh, your mouth is in a more closed position. Crew. And when you make the dark L, the mouth opens a little bit. So when you link those sounds, when the mouth opens a little bit, you get a little bit of an extra sound. But it's not it's not an extra vowel. It's one vowel. Cruel. Your mouth opens and you make an extra little sound. Cruel. Like pool and cool. Example, this boy is not kind to animals. He's cruel to animals. Use the preposition to, pronounced to. Cruel to animals. This boy is cruel to animals. Let's practice. Is this boy cruel to animals? That's right. He's cruel to animals. He's not a nice boy. Now let's look at this word with a similar spelling pattern and a similar pronunciation. Gruel. Again, we see the U-E-L making the long oo sound, followed by a dark L, just like in the words pool and cool. Gruel. Gruel is a kind of food. It can be made like oatmeal, but it's not so thick. It's usually thinner. And in America, it's known for being bad. It's not a good food. So if you want to complain about some food that you don't like, it's very soupy and thin, you can say, this stuff tastes like gruel. I'm not eating this. Example, I don't want gruel for breakfast. I want something better. I want a better breakfast. What about you? Do you want gruel for breakfast, or do you want something better? Very good. Now let's compare these two words. Gruel is a kind of food. It ends with a dark L because the L is after a vowel. It's at the end of the word after a vowel. That's when you use a dark L. Gruel. But if I put ing after it, now I have an L between vowels. If you have an L or a double L between vowels, that's a light L. So it's a little different. Grueling. Grueling. What's different? Well, the light L, you don't expand at the bottom of the tongue. You don't raise the back of the tongue. You just make it straight. The tip of the tongue is in the same position. It's touching the roof of your mouth right behind your teeth, but not touching your teeth. Grueling. Grueling. Use the long oo, and when it links to the light L, it sounds a little different. Listen. Gruel and grueling. It's not so dark. Grueling. Now, grueling is completely different from gruel. Grueling is an adjective. It's to describe something that's very, very difficult. It's not just hard. It's so difficult that it's like torture. It's similar to something that's like punishing you. Very difficult. Example, running a marathon is grueling. It's very, very difficult. It's like torture. It's punishing. What do you think? Is running a marathon grueling? That's right. Running a marathon is grueling. Also notice with the U-E-L, we don't say oo-el. It's not grueling, it's grueling. Use the long oo plus the light L. Grueling. It's grueling. It's horrible. Now let's take a closer look at the difference between the light L and the dark L. We see with these two words, listen and allow, we use the light L. How do you know? Well, when you have an L at the start of a word before a vowel, that's a light L. Listen. Listen. The tongue is touching the roof of your mouth right behind the teeth. Listen. And the tongue is flat and straight. It's not raised in the back. It's not expanded at the bottom. It's just straight. Listen. And with the word allow, you see, the L, here the double L, is between vowels. When you have an L or a double L between vowels, that's a light L also. Allow, allow. Now let's look at these two words, call and milk. These are both dark L's because you have the L at the end of the word after a vowel. After a vowel, we use a dark L. Call. After a vowel at the end of the word, we use the dark L. Call. Or if the L is after a vowel but before a consonant. It's not between vowels. It's between a vowel and a consonant. The L is after a vowel but before a consonant. This is also a dark L. Milk. It's not milk, it's milk. The tongue gets fatter at the bottom, it expands, and it goes up a little bit in the back. Milk. The L in milk is also a dark L. Now let's look at other words ending in U-E-L and see the different pronunciations we have. The first word is dual. Dual. We see U-E-L making the same sound as before, like pool and cool. Dual. And it ends with a dark L because the L is after a vowel at the end of a word. duel. This is a duel. They're fighting a duel. And you can also use duel as a verb and add ing. They're dueling. Now what changed? Now the L in dueling is between vowels, so we have to change that L to a light L. So it's not dueling, it's dueling. Dueling. They're dueling. Somebody's going to die. It's not a good idea. They shouldn't duel. So see the difference? Duel with a dark L and dueling with a light L, because the L is between vowels in the word dueling. And it's not dueling. Don't pronounce that E. It's one sound, oo, plus a dark L. Duel and dueling. Let's practice. What are they doing? Are they dueling? That's right, they're dueling. Not a good idea. They should solve their conflict some other way. Now let's look at this word, fuel. We see the same spelling pattern, U-E-L at the end, but this one's a little different. We're going to use the Y sound. Fuel. Not fool, but fuel. We have the same long oo sound after the Y, so it's U, plus the dark L. Fuel. Fuel. Not fuel. Remember, when you link the oo plus the dark L, the mouth opens a little bit, but it's not a real syllable. It's like this. Fuel. Fuel. This is fuel. And fuel can be a verb too. I can say they're fueling the jet. They're putting fuel in the jet. So I can say they're fueling the jet. Now we see the word fueling with the L between vowels. So it's a light L now. It's a little different. Fueling. Not fueling, but fueling. The light L is straighter. Fueling. They're fueling the jet. We can't leave yet because they're still fueling the jet. Let's practice. Can we leave, or are they still fueling the jet? That's right, we can't leave yet. They're still fueling the jet. So let's review all the words we've learned that end with U-E-L. The first one was cruel, then gruel, also duel and fuel. We see with the first three, they're pronounced pretty much the same. Cruel, gruel, and duel. They all have the oo sound plus a dark L. Ool. Like pool and cool. But remember, with fuel, we have the same spelling pattern, but the pronunciation's a little different. We put that y sound in there. Fuel. So all four words, cruel, gruel, duel, and fuel. Now let's look at a different spelling pattern with the same pronunciation. This word, jewel. It's pronounced the same as cool and pool. You have the long oo sound plus the dark L. There's no extra vowel. It's not jewel, it's jewel. Like pool and cool. Make the long oo sound plus the dark L. Ooh. The mouth opens a little bit. It makes a little extra sound. Jewel. Jewel. This is a jewel. A ruby, for example. A ruby is a jewel. And if I make something with this jewel, I call it jewelry. So the first sound, jewel, plus re. Together, jewelry. And what about the L? Does it change? No, it doesn't change. It's still a dark L because you have the L before a consonant. The L is not between vowels. When the L is between vowels, that's a light L. But this is still a dark L. Just like jewel, the L stays the same in jewelry. Let's practice. What is a ruby? That's right, a ruby is a jewel. And what about this? Is this expensive jewelry? That's right, this is expensive jewelry. That was difficult. Let's do something a little easier. Let's look at these words. These words are all the same. Cool, pool, tool, and fool. You see the same spelling, double O plus L, and the same pronunciation. It's the long oo sound plus the dark L. Cool, pool, tool, and fool. Now let's change one word. Let's change cool to cooling. Now the L in cooling Is it a dark L or a light L? That's right, it's a light L because it's between vowels. So let's hear the difference. Cool has a dark L at the end, but cooling has a light L. Do you hear the difference? Cool, cooling, cooling. Not cooling, but cooling. The tongue is straighter. The tongue is straighter and thinner. It's not expanded at the bottom. It's not coming up at the bottom. It's just straight. Example, this is a cooling system, and it's a very complex cooling system. I don't understand how it works. It's really complex. It's a complex cooling system. Let's practice. Is this a complex cooling system? That's right. This is a complex cooling system. Now we see another spelling pattern. U-L-E. The first word is rule. But the second word is not mule, it's mule. So it's a little different. Let's talk about mule. What is a mule? A mule is an animal. It's a mix of a horse and a donkey. The horse and the donkey get married and they have a baby, and that baby is a mule. It looks a little like a horse and a little like a donkey. That's a mule. And it doesn't matter if it's a boy mule or a girl mule. We call them both mules. And here's a fun fact. If you get two mules together, they cannot have babies. They cannot have children. It's impossible. Only a horse and a donkey can make a mule. And they're hard workers, but they're kind of stupid. They're kind of slow. But mules work hard. They're more popular in the southern states in the United States. The southern part of the United States has a lot of mules. Let's practice. Do mules work hard? That's right. Mules work hard. So remember, mule has the y sound. Mule. Finish with a dark L because the L is at the end of the word after a vowel. Mule. Now let's talk about rule. With rule, we don't say rule. There's no y. It's just ru, dark L, ul, rule. Example, you need to follow the rules. But what if I change the word rule to ruler? Now the L is different. Is it a dark L or a light L? That's right, it's a light L because it's between vowels. So it's not ruler, it's ruler. Ruler. Use a light L. It's straighter. Ruler. Ruler. And what is a ruler? A ruler is a measuring device like this. In America, it's 12 inches or 1 foot. You also have centimeters on an American ruler, but the length is always 1 foot. If you go to other countries, you might find a ruler that's 20 centimeters. It's a little shorter, but it's still a ruler. I used to use rulers in school. When I was in school, I used a ruler. What about you? Did you use a ruler when you were in school? Very good. So we see the L's are different there. When you said school, you used a dark L because the L is at the end of the word after a vowel. School. And when you said ruler, you used a light L because the L is between vowels. Very good. Also remember, a ruler is always a stick. If it's longer, a longer stick. For example, this is a yardstick. It's 3 feet in the United States, 36 inches. And if it's not a stick, then it's called a tape measure or a measuring tape, not a ruler. But there's another kind of ruler. Also, a king can be a ruler, an emperor, a czar. They can all be rulers. For example, Napoleon. Napoleon was the ruler of France a long time ago. Let's practice. Was Napoleon the ruler of France? That's right, Napoleon was the ruler of France a long time ago. Now let's look at words ending in ule that have multiple syllables. They're not one-syllable words like rule and mule. They have multiple syllables. First, let's talk about this word because it has 2 different pronunciations. Some people stress the first syllable only, and some people stress both syllables. If you stress both syllables, you say schedule, schedule, and you say schedule, 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 schedule. Let's hear some examples.
To stay on schedule for the test, you're going to have to be finished in 8 days. Okay?
Okay.
The Death Star will be completed on schedule.
Everyone in favor of changing the schedule, please raise your hand.
But, what if your schedule changes?
And some people pronounce it differently. They say schedule, schedule. And they put the stress only on the first syllable. Schedule. Let's hear some examples.
You know, I'm sure having a schedule where it's not hectic.
So it's the shooting schedule for the day that Celia died.
What about next week? What's your schedule like?
Okay, then let's talk about coming up with a schedule for visitation rights.
Call my secretary, have her schedule a lunch.
Finish the work schedule for next week.
I type up the schedule for the trucking fleet.
So in both pronunciations, we end with a dark L because the L is after a vowel at the end of the word. Schedule. Schedule. One is longer, schedule. And it has an extra sound. It's not like pool and cool. It's schedule. O. There's an extra vowel there. Or you can make it short and say schedule. Schedule. Also, we notice the DU making the J sound, like in juice and jump. J. Schedule. Or schedule. Example, I have a flexible work schedule. What about you? Do you have a flexible work schedule? Very good. Now let's change the word with ing. Scheduling. Scheduling. He has some scheduling conflicts. Pronunciation. When I say schedule, I have a dark L. But when I say scheduling, is it dark or light? That's right, it's light because the L is between vowels. Scheduling. So you can say scheduling with the stress on the first syllable, scheduling, or you can say scheduling and make it longer on the second syllable. Scheduling. But in both words, the L is a light L because it's between vowels. Let's practice. Does he have any scheduling conflicts? That's right, he has some scheduling conflicts. He needs to fix his schedule. And we have this word, module. With module, the stress is on the first syllable. So the second syllable is short. Module. And we see the D makes the J sound, like juice and jump. Module. DU in the middle of the word usually makes the J sound. So a module can be a lesson in a teaching or training system. Example, she's working on module 2. She's still working on module 2. And we see with the word we use the dark L because it's after a vowel at the end of the word. Module. She's still working on module 2. Let's practice. Is she still working on module 2? That's right, she's still working on module 2. She's not finished yet. And this is also a module. This is a lunar module. They landed on the moon in the lunar module. This thing is called a lunar module. Let's practice. What do you call this? What is it called? That's right, it's called a lunar module. And this word is capsule. Again, the stress is on the first syllable, so the second syllable is short. It's not capsule, it's capsule, with a dark L at the end. Capsule. So we see the medicine is available in tablets and capsules. The tablet is the round one, and the capsule is the one that looks like a cylinder. 1 tablet or 2 capsules. The medicine is available in both tablets and capsules. Let's practice. Is the medicine available in tablets and capsules? That's right, the medicine is available in both tablets and capsules. So you have a choice. Now let's look at this word. This word is ridicule. We see the stress on the first syllable and the third syllable, so we pronounce it long. It's not ridicule or ridicule, it's ridicule. Make the long oo sound plus the dark L at the end of the word. Ridicule. Ridicule is a verb. It means to make fun of someone or to make someone look ridiculous. It's not nice to ridicule people. And if I change the verb with ing, ridiculing, is the L a dark L or a light L? That's right, it's a light L because it's between vowels. It's different. Ridiculing ridiculing. You still have the long oo sound. Ridicule. Remember with the e sound. Ridicule. Ridiculing. The boy is ridiculing the girl. It's not nice to ridicule people. Let's practice. Is it nice to ridicule people? That's right. It's not nice to ridicule people. And is the boy ridiculing the girl? That's right. The boy is ridiculing the girl. Now let's look at this word. Ridiculous. The stress moved to the second syllable. Ridiculous. So the last two syllables are short. It's not you, it's ridiculous. You still have the y sound. Y. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. So the last two syllables are short. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. The boy is trying to make the girl look ridiculous. He's ridiculing her, so he's trying to make her look ridiculous. Let's practice. Is he trying to make her look ridiculous? That's right, he's trying to make her look ridiculous. It's not nice. So remember, we have a lot of different spelling patterns to make the sound ool, and sometimes yule. And we also learned how to identify the dark L from the light L, and how to pronounce it correctly. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, subscribe to our channel. And if you want to become a member, click the join button. And we'll see you next time.